People don't stay in painful relationships because they're stupid. They stay because they're attached.
Because leaving feels heavier than staying. Because hope is loud. Hope says, maybe it'll change.
Maybe it's just a phase. And slowly, that hope teaches you to doubt yourself. We're told love is hard.
That it takes sacrifice. But no one tells you when sacrifice turns into losing yourself. So people adapt.
They get quieter. They ask for less. They stop listening to their body.
They start explaining away their pain. And from the outside, everything can look fine. But inside,
something feels off. Empty, disconnected. That's the confusion. Not chaos, but silence.
When I think about healthy love, the first thing that comes to mind is safety. Not excitement. Not intensity. Safety. It's the feeling that you don't have to protect yourself from the person you love. That you're not constantly scanning for mood changes. That you're not bracing yourself before speaking. Emotional safety means you can exist without strategy. You don't plan your words. You don't hide parts of yourself. You don't think, if I say this, will they pull away? You're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to be quiet. You're allowed to be emotional without apologizing for it. When safety is missing, you feel it in your body before you understand it in your mind. Your chest stays tight. Your stomach stays uneasy. You replay conversations over and over, wondering what you did wrong. And slowly, you start choosing peace over truth. Not because you want to lie, but because you're exhausted. You start adjusting yourself in small ways that don't feel dramatic at first. You laugh a little less. You share a little less. You keep certain thoughts to yourself because it feels easier than explaining them. And one day you realize you've been managing the relationship instead of living inside it. That's usually when people say, it's not that bad, even though they feel drained all the time. They tell themselves, this is just how love feels: heavy, confusing, uncertain. But healthy love doesn't make you feel like you're walking on emotional glass. It doesn't make you afraid of your own honesty. It gives you room to breathe, to exist, to be imperfect without consequences. And once you feel that kind of safety, you realize how much energy you were spending just trying to stay okay. In a healthy relationship, vulnerability doesn't cost you closeness. It creates it. You can say, this hurt me, and the response isn't defensiveness. It's presence, curiosity, care. That kind of love lets your nervous system rest. You breathe deeper. You sleep better. You stop feeling like love is something you could lose at any moment. That calm isn't boring. It's relief. And once you feel it, you realize how heavy love felt before.
Healthy relationships still argue, they just don't damage you when they do. In unhealthy relationships, conflict feels scary. Your heart races. Your throat tightens. You're afraid one wrong sentence will turn into silence or distance. So you stay quiet. You swallow things. You convince yourself it's not worth it. But in healthy relationships, conflict feels human. Uncomfortable, yes. Emotional, yes. But safe. You can speak from pain without being attacked. You can disagree without being disrespected. You don't have to prove that your feelings are valid. And when someone messes up, accountability exists. Not excuses, not defensiveness, not you're too sensitive. Real accountability sounds like, I see how that hurt you. I take responsibility. I want to do better. There's also space to pause, to breathe, to come back to the conversation without it being used against you. You're not rushed into forgiving before you're ready, and you're not punished for needing time to process. That space matters more than people realize, because it tells you your emotions aren't dangerous, that your pain doesn't scare the person you're with. You don't feel pressure to move on just to restore peace. Instead, you're given time to feel, to understand, to heal. And that creates trust, not the kind that's forced, but the kind that grows naturally when you feel respected even in difficult moments. After conflict, you don't feel smaller. You don't feel ashamed. You don't feel like you have to earn closeness again. There's repair, there's softness, there's effort, and that's what builds trust, not perfection, repair. Over time, that trust teaches your body It's safe to stay open, to stop guarding, to stop preparing for emotional impact.
A healthy relationship doesn't slowly erase you. You don't become quieter to keep things calm. You don't shrink to avoid conflict. You don't give up pieces of yourself just to stay loved. You still recognize yourself. Your laugh still sounds like you. Your interests still matter. Your dreams still feel allowed. You're permitted to have space, to need time alone, to grow in directions that don't revolve around the relationship. A secure partner doesn't confuse closeness with control. They don't need access to every part of you to feel safe. They trust the connection enough to let you breathe. You're not made to feel guilty for choosing yourself sometimes. You're not questioned every time you want to be alone. Your independence isn't seen as a threat, it's respected. And because of that respect, coming back together feels natural. You don't return out of obligation or fear. You return because you want to, because the connection feels like a choice, not a responsibility. Healthy love understands that two people can be deeply connected without being emotionally fused. It knows that space doesn't weaken love, it often strengthens it. Unhealthy love clings. Healthy love chooses. You're not together because you'd fall apart without them. You're together because your life feels fuller with them in it. That difference changes everything.
Healthy love is consistent, and consistency is quiet. There's no emotional roller coaster, no sudden withdrawals, no guessing where you stand. Affection doesn't disappear as punishment. Care doesn't feel conditional. Words match actions over time. That consistency creates trust, not just mentally, but physically. Your body relaxes. You stop scanning for signs. You stop overanalyzing tone and silence. There's peace. You're not constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're not reading between lines that aren't there. You can enjoy good moments without wondering how long they'll last. That's when joy starts to feel real instead of temporary. You don't brace yourself during happy moments. You don't feel guilty for feeling okay. You're present, fully present, because you trust the ground beneath you. And that trust changes how deeply you can connect, not just to the person, but to the relationship itself. And peace doesn't kill passion. It allows it. When you're not afraid of losing someone, you can actually be present with them. You can love without holding back. You can relax into connection instead of bracing for disappointment. Calm isn't boring. Calm is safety.
Healthy relationships aren't one-sided. Both people show up. Both people reflect. Both people take responsibility. You're not fixing someone. You're not carrying everything alone. You're walking beside someone who's willing to walk with you. And maybe the clearest sign of all is this: a healthy relationship doesn't make you question your worth. You don't feel smaller. You don't feel confused. You don't feel like you're constantly proving yourself. You're allowed to relax into who you are. You don't feel like love is something you have to earn every day. You're met where you are, not where you're expected to be. That acceptance creates a quiet confidence inside you. You stop overthinking your value. You stop negotiating your needs. You trust that you're enough without performing. And from that place, love feels lighter not because it's shallow, but because it's secure. You feel steadier, more grounded, more like who you actually are. Healthy love doesn't save you. It doesn't complete you. It meets you and grows with you. And when it's real, you don't need to convince yourself. You don't need to survive it. You just feel at home.
Sometimes clarity doesn't come as a big realization. It comes quietly, when something you hear feels familiar in your chest and you realize you've been carrying a feeling you never fully let yourself name. Not because you didn't sense it before, but because admitting it felt too heavy. And in that moment, there's no panic, just honesty.
That honesty doesn't mean you failed at love or made the wrong choices. It just means you're listening now to the part of you that's been asking for peace instead of intensity. The part that's tired of shrinking, tired of explaining discomfort, tired of pretending love is supposed to hurt this much. That awareness isn't weakness, it's self-respect returning.
Healthy love doesn't ask you to abandon yourself to keep someone close. It gives you space to breathe. to grow, to be honest without fear. And when love feels safe, you don't need to convince yourself to stay. You feel grounded instead of uncertain.
So something here stayed with you. Let it be information, not pressure. You don't need answers right now. Just notice how love feels in your body, not how it looks from the outside. Because the love that's right for you won't feel like something you endure, it will feel like somewhere you can rest.